So print stands for People, Religion, Information Networks, and Travel, and it's really about the dynamics of migration in the early modern world, and we're looking at the 17th and 18th century specifically. And so as a historian of migration, I'm really interested in the ways in which communication networks help to sort of shift migration flows between 1630 and 1730. We're looking at the ways in which religious dissenters, that is Quakers, Anabaptists, and Pietists in this time period, began to correspond with one another. They wrote letters to one another that crossed a whole bunch of boundaries, so language boundaries, political boundaries. So what I'm really interested in looking at is the connections between people, the kinds of information that they were exchanging, and then the ways in which that information helped to shape the opportunities people had or the choices they made about where to move to when they had to move out of their countries. So the letters that we have are in 4 countries and in 3 different languages predominantly. There are many, many more letters than we are actually digitizing, but we're digitizing a collection of about 2,700 letters and that are spread out throughout these repositories. So we are creating a database which includes the metadata or the data about every letter. So what the research team does, which is our group of students and recent grads, what they do is to do research on every individual letter, and we learn things like the names of the senders, the receivers, where the letter comes from, where it goes to, and then a lot of different aspects of the letter are recorded in our database.
So at Print, when you get to look at the primary sources and you're looking at letters or financial records or court records or community records, you learn little stories. When you're in a classroom, you usually talk about things on like this grand level. But here, when you're looking at these small sources, you get to see it on a much, much smaller scale. And you get to learn tiny pieces of everyday life that you would never have gotten otherwise. I think history for a long time has focused on, they say like the history of the great man. And the thing is, while you have all of these really cool historical figures, they're not very relatable. When you look at some of these people who are in our documents, they are. And you can see how their life is similar to experiences that happen today.
Communication networks, I think that was one of the biggest things, was learning how things traveled during this time, how certain letters reached people. A big key takeaway I realized was that how we take advantage, or we take advantage of how convenient communication is during this period. Like, we're used to a text, but back then they were communicating with people and they might not know that 6 months prior this person had passed. So they were having to organize these elaborate legal measures and figure out about their family members, but with such distance in between them, like oceans in between them, and not being able to reach other people. And through print, I was able to read these handwritings that some people might look at and be like, wow, that's too much for me. Like, I don't even know how to read cursive. But through the project, you can actually get these valuable skills and be able to uncover these great stories, because this was not something we learned. It wasn't one of our main people, but through parsing these letters, we could learn, wow, here's another great story that wasn't really well known to history at the time. So I think this research has really prepared me in the sense of just how deep in the weeds I was able to get and how I was able to utilize so many different sources.
So the next steps are, first of all, simply to bring the project to fruition and to the public. So right now, we're still conducting all of the research in the letters and creating all of that metadata. We're still working on transcriptions, which that in and of itself is a whole other sub-project. And the computer science team working on the mapping tool is wrapping up their work. And so the next steps will be to sort of bring all the pieces of the project together and actually be able to publicize and make public the project website. And then beyond that, I think just having a chance to actually do some of the analysis that I've been wanting to do for years, that having access to these digital tools will allow me to do in a way that I haven't been able to just simply reading the letters.